The stars were silent that night, stretching endlessly over the black emptiness of space. Captain Elias Kane, a human engineer, floated alone in the observation bay of the derelict station orbiting the small, uncharted planet of Zorath 9. Humanity had recently begun exploring the outer reaches of the galaxy, hoping to find new planets, new resources, and, maybe, new life. But Elias never imagined that life he would find tonight would be more strange and more dangerous than anything in the training manuals. The station was old, abandoned for decades, or so the logs suggested. Its metal walls were corroded and scratched, echoing the soft hum of failing power cores. Elias walked carefully, his boots making dull thuds on the steel floor. His mission was simple: scan the station for usable technology, repair what he could, and leave. But as he turned a corner, a faint vibration caught his attention. Something alive, breathing, moving. Following the sound, he entered the main docking bay, where the remnants of a spacecraft lay crumpled and shattered. The vessel was unlike anything he had seen before. Its hull was smooth, dark, almost liquid-like in appearance. And scattered across the floor were shards of armor, glowing faintly with alien runes. And there, trapped beneath a twisted support beam, was a figure, a woman, but not human. She had pale skin that shimmered faintly under the flickering lights and eyes that glowed crimson. Her hair was dark and long, tangled across her shoulders, and her fingers ended in slightly pointed nails. The armor she wore was shattered, several pieces bent and broken as if hit by some powerful weapon. Elias's heart raced. He had read about alien species, even those rumored to exist, but seeing one in front of him, wounded and vulnerable, made all the theories feel trivial. The woman's breathing was ragged, each inhale sharp and strained. When she noticed him, she attempted to rise but faltered, letting out a low, guttural hiss. Elias instinctively raised his hands. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said slowly, in a calm, steady voice. I can help." For a long moment, she just stared, eyes glowing, measuring him. Then, with a sound somewhere between a sigh and a growl, she shifted slightly, letting him approach. Elias took the opportunity to examine the armor. The damage was extensive. The chest plate was cracked, the gauntlets bent, and one shoulder piece was completely broken. Any attempt to move without repair could injure her further. I can fix this," Elias said softly, kneeling near her. He set his toolkit on the floor, careful not to jostle her. "I know you're hurt, but I have the tools and parts. I just need to work slowly." She tilted her head, a cautious curiosity in her glowing eyes. She didn't speak in a language Elias understood, but her gaze seemed to soften slightly. She gestured to the broken shoulder plate. Then at him, as if asking, "Can you?" "I can," he said, nodding. "I promise, but you have to stay still. Can you do that?" Another tilt of her head, then a slow nod. Elias breathed out, relief washing over him. For the next several hours, he worked in silence, carefully removing broken pieces of armor, repairing circuits, and bending metal back into shape. The alien technology was unlike anything he had encountered. It responded to touch, almost as if alive, reacting to his hands with faint pulses of energy. Occasionally, she would reach out a hand, letting him adjust a plate near her arm or shoulder. Her movements hesitant, but deliberate. Between tools and repairs, he studied her more closely. Her species, whatever it was, moved with grace even in weakness. There was a faint hum around her, a strange warmth that seemed to defy the cold emptiness of the station. She occasionally hissed softly, or flexed her fingers. And Elias realized she had extraordinary strength, though it was restrained by the damage she had suffered. Hours passed. Elias had almost forgotten the dangers of the station, the decaying structure, the failing security systems. So focused was he on repairing the armor. Then, as the first piece of her chest plate clicked back into place, the station shuddered violently. Lights flickered, and a loud groan of metal echoed through the bay. Something, or someone, was approaching. The alien woman's head snapped up, crimson eyes narrowing. She rose slightly, testing her strength. Elias stepped back. "It's okay," he said. "I don't know what's coming, but I'll protect you." She tilted her head again. A question and a challenge in her gaze. It was clear she did not fully trust him yet, but there was a spark, an understanding that he was on her side. Then the sound came, a clanging, mechanical approach from the far end of the bay. Elias recognized it immediately. Scavenger drones. Small, aggressive machines left behind by rogue mercenaries, programmed to retrieve anything of value and eliminate witnesses. He glanced at the alien woman. "Can you fight?" he asked. Her eyes glowed brighter, and for the first time, she spoke, her voice low, melodic, but with an edge of menace. Elias couldn't understand the words, but the meaning was clear. She was capable. She was deadly. And she was asking if he could handle himself. Elias swallowed. "I can try." She gave a slow nod, then flexed her arms, testing the repaired armor. Sparks danced along the seams as the pieces realigned perfectly, responding to her movements as if they were an extension of her body. Elias watched in awe. The technology she wore was beyond human understanding. He had repaired it, but now he realized the full extent of its power. The drones reached the bay, small and fast, their sensors locking onto the pair. Elias grabbed a heavy pipe from the floor, preparing to defend them. The alien woman stepped forward, her stance low and predatory, eyes glowing crimson as she assessed the incoming threat. Then, in a flash, she moved. Faster than any human could follow. She struck. Her movements were a blur, arms swinging, legs kicking, energy pulses from her gauntlets striking with precision. Drones shattered under the force of her strikes, pieces scattering across the floor. Elias swung the pipe at one, narrowly striking it and causing it to spin into the wall. Together, human ingenuity and alien power worked in harmony, clearing the bay in moments. When the last drone fell, silence returned. The alien woman's breathing was steady now, and she looked at Elias, a faint smile touching her lips. It was the first sign of emotion he had seen, a mix of gratitude and something else he couldn't name. "Thank you," she said, in that same strange, melodic voice. He still couldn't understand the words, but the tone was unmistakable. Elias lowered his pipe. "You saved me too," he said. "I think we make a good team." She studied him, her glowing eyes softening. Then, with a tilt of her head, she gestured to him, an invitation to continue the work, but also a promise of trust. For the first time, Elias realized that this encounter was not just about repairs or survival. This was the beginning of something extraordinary. A bond formed between human and alien, built on courage, trust, and understanding. And though he did not yet know it, it would lead him to a gift beyond anything he could imagine, and a journey that would test the limits of humanity itself. The stars outside the station seemed brighter now, as if witnessing the start of a new alliance. Elias cleaned his tools and prepared for the next stage, fully repairing her armor and discovering the secrets hidden within it. He glanced at the alien woman, who was sitting quietly, her crimson eyes watching him. She was strong, dangerous, and mysterious. But most importantly, she had chosen to trust him. And trust, Elias knew, was the most powerful weapon in the galaxy. The station creaked again, but this time, the sound did not bring fear. Together, human and alien, engineer and warrior, were ready to face whatever came next. The station was quiet now, except for the low hum of its failing power core. Outside, the planet Zorath 9 rotated slowly, its barren surface bathed in pale starlight. Captain Elias Kane set down his tools and took a moment to catch his breath. The alien woman sat across from him, her repaired armor already beginning to hum faintly, like it was aware of the work he had done. She did not speak in a language he understood, but her eyes, crimson, glowing, and intelligent, watched him carefully. Elias wiped the sweat from his forehead and forced a small smile. "We survived the first fight," he said. "That's a good start." The woman tilted her head, a sound escaping her throat that was somewhere between a hiss and a laugh. It was almost playful. Elias felt a shiver run down his spine, not from fear, but from the strange, otherworldly energy that surrounded her. She was dangerous, yes, but she was also fascinating. He turned his attention back to her armor. While he had managed to repair some of the major damage, there were still sections that were broken or incomplete. Small cracks remained in the gauntlets, tiny sparks escaped from the chestplate circuits, and one of the shoulder pads still hung loose. Elias knew that fully restoring it would not only give her back her strength, but could reveal just how powerful she really was. "I need to finish this," he said softly. "It might take a while. You'll have to trust me." Her eyes glowed brighter. She leaned forward slightly, offering her arm. That small gesture, letting him touch her, adjust the delicate machinery on her body, felt like a bridge being built between two very different species. Elias nodded, understanding the significance. "Thank you," he said, "for trusting me." Another tilt of her head, then she stayed still, letting him work. Hours passed in careful, meticulous labor. Elias examined each piece of alien technology, amazed at the sophistication. The armor seemed almost alive. It adjusted itself to his touch, reacting to his movements, and even anticipating the placement of new parts. Elias had repaired machines before, but nothing like this. It was a combination of engineering and something he could not explain, something almost magical. While he worked, he tried to communicate with her. He held up small tools, pointing at pieces of armor, hoping she would understand. She responded with small gestures, tilting her head, holding out her hand, flexing her fingers. Slowly, through gestures, Elias began to understand fragments of her language, or at least her intentions. She was a warrior, he realized. Her armor was not just protection, it was part of her. It enhanced her strength, speed, and perception. Every piece had a purpose. Some plates were covered in strange runes, glowing faintly as if alive, and others were thin but incredibly strong, able to absorb energy that would tear human armor apart. As Elias repaired the shoulder pad, he asked, "Who are you?" She paused, her crimson eyes fixed on him. Then she spoke again, her voice soft but commanding. Elias could not understand the words, but the tone was clear. She was cautious, revealing very little. She gestured to her chest, then to him, then to the stars outside the station. Elias understood enough to piece together a rough story. She had been attacked while traveling through the galaxy. Her people hunted for their power and technology. She was alone, injured, and in danger. Elias swallowed hard. "You're very brave," he said, "and very strong." Her eyes softened slightly, as if acknowledging his words. Then, she looked away, perhaps embarrassed or unwilling to show more emotion. Elias smiled faintly. Humanity had always found ways to communicate, to connect, even across species and worlds. He was starting to feel that, here. Night on Zorath 9 passed slowly. The station's lights flickered, casting long shadows over the metal walls. Elias took breaks to rest his hands, but the alien woman rarely moved. She seemed content to watch him work, observing every movement. Occasionally, she reached out, adjusting a small wire or circuit herself. Elias realized she was teaching him, in her own way, how her armor functioned. "You're amazing," he said quietly, almost to himself. "I can't believe this technology exists." She tilted her head again, a small hum escaping her throat. Elias imagined it as a laugh. It was strange, alien. But in that moment, it felt like connection. By the next morning, most of the armor was restored. The shoulder pad clicked perfectly into place, and the gauntlets fit seamlessly. When he stepped back, the alien woman rose slowly. She moved with incredible grace. Even in the still slightly damaged armor, every motion was precise, controlled, and beautiful in its lethal elegance. Elias stepped closer, unable to hide his awe. "It's perfect," he said. "You're unstoppable now." Her eyes glowed brighter, but not with aggression. It was pride. Pride in the repair. And perhaps, pride in him. Then, she did something unexpected. She extended a hand not in attack, but in a gesture of thanks. Elias hesitated for a moment, then took it. The touch was electric. He felt a strange warmth, almost as if the armor itself was acknowledging him. Then she spoke again. Her voice soft but clear this time. Words he could almost understand, though he didn't know the language. Yet the meaning was obvious. "You saved me. You helped me. I will not forget." Elias nodded. "I'm glad I did." For the first time, the alien woman relaxed completely. She moved around the bay, testing the armor, lifting objects effortlessly, and flexing her enhanced strength. Elias watched, amazed. This armor was not just technology, it was a weapon, a shield, and a part of her very being. "Your people, your warriors," he said slowly, pointing to the runes and glowing circuits. "They're incredible. Why? Why are they hunted?" She hesitated, her eyes darkening slightly. Then, with a gesture that suggested memory and pain, she showed him a vision. Not a vision in his mind, but a story told through gestures and movements. A vast fleet, enemies descending on her people, villages destroyed, ships burning. The alien warrior's eyes were filled with sorrow. Elias's heart ached. "I understand," he said softly. "You've lost so much." Her hand touched his arm lightly. It was a silent acknowledgement of his empathy. Elias felt a strange bond forming between them. A connection that went beyond species, language, or culture. It was trust. And trust, he realized, could be stronger than any weapon. As the day passed, Elias worked on the final adjustments. He polished the armor, checked circuits, and made sure every piece fit perfectly. The alien woman observed, occasionally making small adjustments herself, teaching him in subtle ways. By evening, the armor was fully restored. It glowed faintly, pulsing with energy, responding to her movements. Then she moved. The alien warrior stepped into the center of the bay and flexed her fingers, lifted her arms, and turned slowly. Elias watched in awe as the armor reacted seamlessly to her body. Small energy pulses danced across the plates, light flickering across the runes. She was beautiful, terrifying, and powerful all at once. She stopped, turned to Elias, and bowed slightly. A gesture of gratitude. Elias's chest tightened. He had never expected to feel proud of saving someone's life, especially not an alien warrior, but the look in her eyes told him it mattered. You helped me," she said again. Her words were soft, but the meaning was clear. She had survived because of him. Elias nodded, feeling a mix of pride and humility. "You're welcome," he said simply. "I'm glad I could help." For the first time since he arrived, the station felt less like a tomb and more like a place of beginning. Outside, Zoreth 9 stars twinkled faintly, as if acknowledging the unusual bond formed within the metal walls. Elias realized that this encounter was not just about repairing armor, it was about trust, courage, and understanding between two very different beings. And though neither could yet speak each other's language fully, they both understood something important. They were no longer alone. Together, they could face whatever dangers the galaxy might throw at them. Elias glanced at her one last time before resting. She sat quietly, testing the repaired armor, moving gracefully, and occasionally flexing her enhanced strength. She was strong, she was dangerous, but she was also grateful. And in that moment, Elias knew this was only the beginning, an adventure that would change his life, and perhaps the future of humanity itself. The stars outside seemed brighter now, reflecting the quiet energy inside the bay. And as night fell over Zorath 9, Elias slept lightly, knowing that tomorrow would bring new challenges, and perhaps the first hints of an incredible gift from this alien warrior who had chosen to trust him.